Hi everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Kat.
And I am Pat. And we're talking today not just about hunger, but false hunger.
That's right. So we're talking somewhat about food, but also like why we want food. And, people have different relationships with food, don't they?
Yeah, some people have a more difficult relationship with others. What would you say some of your good and bad eating habits are?
Well, for a little while, I did intermittent fasting, which is where I only would eat during a certain 8-hour window every day. I'm not doing that recently, but I've been thinking about getting back to it. But I think my bad habit is that I have sweets anytime I feel like. I really should only limit it to maybe weekends or something like that. How about you?
A good habit I would probably say is I never skip breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
I do go with that. Get up, pretty much get some food in you straight away. I do think it gives you a bit of energy. I think it kind of makes the day. If I don't get some breakfast, I'll probably be grumpy, to be honest. And then I'll want to eat some kind of big, greasy lunch or something. So I think holding to breakfast is a good habit. Bad eating habits? I could probably have more fruit. I probably don't eat enough fruit overall.
Yeah, I think I used to not eat enough vegetables, but more recently I've been eating a lot. So, at least that's a good thing.
Okay. But this is all about false hunger. So you feel hungry, but you're actually not. What is going on here? Let's read about it in our article and get to the bottom of it.
Reading. False hunger. What your stomach isn't telling you. When you're hungry, you should eat, right? This idea is not necessarily true. Sometimes the reason we feel hungry is because of something else. You might eat when you're bored, sad, or dragging your feet on doing something unpleasant. Other causes of false hunger are metabolism problems, being thirsty, or lacking fiber or certain nutrients. These problems can make us reach for salty or sweet snacks. How can you determine if your hunger is real or false? First, listen to your body. Low energy levels and an empty feeling in your stomach are signs of real hunger. Second, ask yourself what you want to eat. If the answer is anything, even a vegetable you don't like, you're really hungry. If you want a particular kind of food like chocolate, it's probably false hunger. When you experience false hunger, drink some water or eat fiber-rich green vegetables. Don't skip regular meals. Now that you know about false hunger, you can take action to become aware of your eating habits.
So the article begins by saying, when you're hungry, you should eat, right?
Right.
Right. So
Right.
This is kind of posing what seems to be an obvious question here. Of course, you're hungry, go and get something to eat. But maybe that's not always the best idea. And let's find out why.
Yeah, so the article says just as much. It says this idea is not necessarily true. That doesn't mean it's always not true. It's just not necessarily true. So when we say something is necessarily something, that's an adverb we use from the adjective necessary. And necessary would mean something that you absolutely need and can't do without. It's something very needed is necessary. But necessarily is used to say that basically you can't change or avoid something. Like you can't go without doing this. Like we necessarily have to have meetings to talk about certain things, or you necessarily have to take exams at school. But if you use not necessarily, it's a little bit different. It means possibly, but not 100% certain. It's basically saying something is not definitely true. So it's not really 100% true that you should always eat when you feel hungry. So an example sentence for necessarily: Elise isn't necessarily angry with you. She might just be feeling mad because of something else. So it's basically saying, it's not you she's mad at 100%. It might be, but it doesn't have to be.
So we've got this idea then, you shouldn't always eat when you're hungry, and the article explains why. It says sometimes the reason we feel hungry is because of something else. It's not because you haven't eaten in a certain amount of time. It's not because you didn't eat enough food at lunch or at breakfast. It's not just simply your body saying, I need some energy or I need something in my stomach, put some food in me. There are other reasons behind it, and that's what we're going to get into now.
Exactly. So the article goes on to say you might eat when you're bored, sad, or dragging your feet on doing something unpleasant. So that sounds like it's about your feelings, too. So when you're bored, yeah, I know that sometimes when I'm bored and don't have anything to do, I'm just like, let me get a snack. Or you're sad, maybe you had a breakup, or you watched a sad movie, or you're dragging your feet on doing something you don't want to do. When you drag your feet, it means you're moving slowly, you're moving kind of unwillingly, thinking like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's kind of like when you get out of bed in the morning and you just really don't want to get up. And so you go as slowly as you can because you just don't really want to do it. That's dragging your feet.
Yeah, and I can imagine if you had a big job, like some homework in front of you, you go, I don't want to start that. I'll just make myself some sandwich or,
Exactly.
a little pot of noodles or something.
Right. Food is more fun than homework, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't mention it, but I can think of other reasons as well, which are kind of to do with habit. Like some people will say, well, I can't go and watch a movie in a movie theater without some popcorn or another snack, or I can't watch the game on TV without having some kind of snacks nearby.
Right. Or if you go into a convenience store to maybe pay some bills, but there's a lot of food there. Maybe you just buy something because it's there, because you can buy it. Yeah.
Or you're having a cup of tea or coffee and you think, I want a little cookie or biscuit to go with it.
Exactly.
Something like that. So these are all reasons to eat that aren't to do with hunger. And we've got a couple more here. Other causes of false hunger are metabolism problems, being thirsty, or lacking fiber or certain nutrients. So we've got a few ideas to kind of get through here, a lot of tricky words in this sentence. The first one, of course, is hunger, which we've mentioned a few times already. Hunger is a noun. It's the feeling of needing food, your body wanting something in your stomach, your body needing some energy. It's the noun form of the adjective hungry. If you're hungry, you feel hunger. We could also use the word hunger to talk about a more general problem affecting people, the hunger felt by children in poor countries or in difficult situations. We could also talk about a hunger as a need to have or get something. You've got a hunger for a particular type of career or a particular type of experience. It just means you have that need for it, you feel.
Exactly. So a hunger for maybe, for words.
Speed, excitement,
Yeah.
something like that. Company. So here's an example of the needing food kind of hunger. My hunger was so great that I ate 6 slices of pizza without stopping.
Wow, that's a lot of pizza.
That is quite a lot of pizza.
Yeah, and that could be due to a metabolism problem. So metabolism is something that people think about a lot when we're discussing being hungry or eating or exercising. It's the kind of processes that we all go through, humans and animals and plants, or, other kinds of creatures too. The way that we use our food and our water to grow and to heal ourselves and to get energy. So if you're putting in like a lot of calories, a lot of food into your body, your metabolism is what uses that food to make energy and to eventually make waste. That's your metabolism doing its job.
So you could have a metabolism problem. Most of these are related to different diseases of your body. Metabolism is controlled by special chemicals called hormones. And if you've got not enough or too much of a particular hormone, you might eat more or eat less. You might not store the food properly. Your brain might not get the message that you're full, stop eating.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different things like that.
Yeah, and, kids and young people have a very high metabolism, which means that they convert food into energy rather quickly. But as you get older, your metabolism starts to slow down. And so you have to keep in mind that you might gain weight if you eat the same amount as you did when you were younger.
Okay, so one of these kinds of problems could cause false hunger, the idea that you are feeling hungry, but you don't actually need to eat. Another one is being thirsty. If you haven't drunk enough water, you might go, oh, I need a snack. I feel kind of empty. On the other hand, if you've drunk a lot of water, you might not feel hungry at all. It can kind of push it the other way.
That's right.
Another thing that can make you feel hungry is lacking fiber. So fiber, when we're talking about it in terms of your metabolism and food, it's a type of carbohydrate that your body can't digest. You find it in a lot of things like plant material. There are bits of plants that our body doesn't actually eat. There are bits of grains, like bits of bread and so on, that our body doesn't turn into energy. So when we eat these things, it helps us feel full without eating too much, and the right amount of fiber can make sure you go to the bathroom regularly, and it also helps by controlling your body's blood sugar. So it is important to have a decent amount of fiber in your diet. You can get that from fruits, from vegetables, from whole grains.
I didn't actually know that it helps to control your blood sugar.
Yeah, because it's all about your body sensing what you do have and don't have, and if the fiber's there, then you'll go, okay, stop eating the sweet stuff with sugar.
Okay, that's a good thing to know. So I'll eat more things with fiber. So, yeah, you could also be lacking certain other kinds of nutrients. So fiber is a nutrient, but there are other kinds. So nutrients are the things in your food that plants and animals and us need to live and to grow. So we need to have a certain amount of each kind of nutrient that we get from our food each day. So like protein. Protein is something you find in a lot of like meat, nuts, eggs, things like that. It helps you to gain more muscles and more strength. Carbohydrates, they help you get short-term energy so you can exercise more. They can also be called carbs for short, and you get them from bread. And fat is a nutrient. Sugar is a nutrient. So they're all different kinds. And vitamins, I think, are considered nutrients too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, sugar is just a form of carbohydrates. There are many, from the kind of very simple stuff that we immediately turn to energy to the bigger ones that take a lot more breaking down inside the body.
Yeah.
So all of these problems, the article says these problems, so being thirsty, having a metabolism problem, not having a good diet, these problems can make us reach for salty or sweet snacks. It doesn't sound as though it makes sense, but we often go for something salty or something sweet because that's going to give us the quick energy boost. Our kind of taste makes us want these things even though we don't need them. And so we reach for them. To reach for them could mean to physically stretch out. You're going to maybe walk past the 7-Eleven shelf and you stretch out. You reach for those. You reach for them in your cupboard or something. It can also be used in a sort of mental way. If you reach for something, it's the sort of thing you want and maybe sometimes depend on. So you go, every time I feel a bit hungry, I reach for a snack. You know, that's the thing you want to meet your need or what you think of as your need.
So what kind of things do we reach for when we are feeling false hunger or maybe thirst? We reach for salty or sweet snacks. Now, you know what sweet means. It has a lot of sugar. If something is salty, it has a lot of salt. And salt, if you, look in your cabinet, you might have this container of little tiny white grains, kind of dust that you will put in your food a lot for cooking or for flavor. That's salt. And of course, it goes on a lot of things like chips, and it goes in dishes like noodles and things like that. If it has a little bit of a sharp flavor, it's probably got some salt in it. And salt is important for your body, but too much of it can actually be bad for you. So an example of some salty foods. These French fries are so salty. they're making me feel very thirsty. I wonder if that has to do with why we eat salt when we're thirsty.
Yeah, it's all a matter of different chemicals in your body balancing out. So they form bonds with water. It's something I studied at university. We're not going to get too much into the details of that.
Yeah, but Pat knows all about it, though.
Yeah, if you're feeling this kind of false hunger, you might go, oh, I want a chocolate bar. I want a bag of chips. I want something like that because that'll kind of make me feel good and fill this imaginary hole in my stomach. So that's kind of what it might make you do, this false hunger. But what can we do about it? The article asks, how can you determine if your hunger is real or false? Determine here means tell one thing from another thing. How do you know if you're really hungry or if you've got some other issue or problem that's making you want a salty or sweet snack?
That's a good question. So, I mean, of course, we can just wait until we feel really, really bad, but I don't think that's a good idea. There's different ways that you can tell whether your hunger is real. The article says, first, listen to your body. Isn't that something we all need to learn how to do?
And of course, here we don't necessarily mean listen with your ears, although if your stomach makes that kind of kind of sound, then yeah, probably hungry. But also just, it means kind of, how are you feeling? What do you feel right now? What's your body telling you?
And don't just listen to your feelings like you're, whether you're bored or sad, but also listen to, are you feeling low energy or are you just feeling kind of down? Yeah.
So here's an example of how this works. Low energy levels and an empty feeling in your stomach are signs of real hunger. So yeah, if you don't seem to have a lot of energy, you can't really find that drive to get up and do stuff, are you kind of feeling a bit sleepy maybe, or the empty feeling in your stomach, that's real hunger.
Yeah.
Go ahead and eat stuff. That means it's time for a meal. So when we talk about your stomach, of course, we know what this is. It's one of the organs that digests food. Its main job is to break down large lumps of food with acids and other things so it can pass through the rest of our digestive system and get the good stuff, the nutrients into our body, and then get rid of the waste. So here's a cool fact using the word stomach. Cows' stomachs have 4 large areas, and this helps them eat grass and produce the energy cows need.
That's so interesting. I was always told, or I always thought that cows have 4 stomachs, but really they only have one with 4 different parts.
With 4 big areas, yeah. You could say casually that cows have 4 stomachs and sheep and things like that.
That's interesting. And we only have one area, which is,
right,
because we eat meat and vegetables.
Yeah, this little kind of bag that's just down the bottom end of the throat.
Right. Okay, so we have that good first tip. Listen to your body. Make sure that you are understanding what it needs. Second, ask yourself what you want to eat. I think that's a good question.
It is. And the article says if the answer is anything, even a vegetable you don't like, you're really hungry. So I'll eat broccoli, I'll eat, some sprouts or whatever. I'm not too fond of either, but I'll eat those. You must be hungry.
I think no matter what, I would not eat a tomato.
Okay.
I just really don't like tomatoes. But if it was something like, mixed veggies, maybe something kind of bitter, like a pepper that I'm not really keen on, but I just really want some food, then I would know I was really hungry. So, that's what the article says too. It's not about the kind of food you want. It's about that you want food at all. If you want a particular kind of food, like chocolate, it's probably false hunger, or what we call a craving, right?
Yeah. So what can you do about it if you realize, I'm feeling hungry, but this isn't real hunger? The article says, when you experience false hunger, drink some water, because of course you might be thirsty, or eat fiber-rich green vegetables. So this will take care of the thirst problem or the lack of fiber problem.
Right, because the fiber will make you feel more full and it'll help with your blood sugar. It's a good way to go. And of course, another way you can deal with this is don't skip regular meals. Of course, we're talking about not giving into false hunger, but also do pay attention to real hunger. To skip means to not do something, usually something that you would usually do or you're expected to do. If you have regular meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's your usual thing. But if you don't have one of those, like breakfast, which Pat says he never skips, you'd be skipping it. You would be not having it. So it's something that's usual that you don't do. So, for example, Maurice skipped his morning coffee today, so he felt very tired until lunchtime. That probably means that Maurice has coffee just about every morning, and he didn't do it today.
Right, so that's how you can beat false hunger. The article finishes by saying, now that you know about false hunger, you can take action to become aware of your eating habits. The phrase now that is a conjunction. It links together a previous idea or thought with a consequence. For example, now that I've finished work, I can go home. So you've got this thing, and what's the next step? Now that you know, you can take action.
That's right. So take action, I would think, is, a very good thing to follow out of now that, because take action means to act, to do something, to, see that there is a problem that needs to be solved, and you do something about it. You take action against it. It means basically to act to get a particular result.
And in this case, that's becoming aware of your eating habits. If you're aware of something, you have knowledge of a situation or a fact, and you understand how it might affect you in some way. You've got that knowledge in your head. For example, you could say, I wasn't aware that today is your birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, in this case, you've only just learned that knowledge, but having learned it, you are aware of it, and you're aware of what to do in that situation.
Right, just like you are now aware of the problem of false hunger and what you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all we've got.
Yep, we'll now go to today's For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So the question is, what is the longest you've gone without eating? Why did you do it, and how was it?
I think the longest I've probably gone without eating is about 30 hours.
Ouch.
Yeah, which is about, a day and a half. I don't remember why. I was thinking for a second that it might have been when I was in church and we were doing like a fasting and praying kind of event together, but I don't think that was it. I think maybe I was just feeling too sick to eat or too tired and I just didn't eat. And so when I did eat again, I ate like a huge meal and I felt a lot better. But yeah, I think I've gone more than a day before without eating. How about you?
Probably the longest I might have ever gone is like a long plane journey, maybe a sort of 10, 12-hour one where I was very tired and fell asleep or just dozed and just ignored the meals when they delivered them. But I can't, other than that, even if I'm sick, I try to eat some very simple, very basic food because I know that's what my body needs to get rid of the sickness. So
right.
I can only think of a long plane journey as being one where I just kind of ignored it.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that's about all.
Maybe you guys hopefully you haven't gone without food longer than we have. But, it's important to eat every day. Even if you're feeling sick, like Pat said, eat something small, eat something light, keep your energy up, stay healthy.
Yep.
So we hope you've enjoyed learning about false hunger with us. For English for You, I'm Kat.
And I'm Pat.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Necessarily. You do not necessarily need to learn any Japanese to visit Japan, but it is a good idea. Hunger. A big lunch of a hamburger, a salad, and French fries still didn't satisfy my hunger. Salty. After eating a lot of salty foods, Sally needed to drink some water. Stomach. You eat so much, how does your stomach hold it all? Skip. John wanted to visit that museum while in New York City, but he ran out of time and skipped it. Aware. Alice was aware of what had happened, so she understood why everyone was upset.
智慧小补帖
Metabolism. Fiber. Nutrient.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net